Hi, everyone. This is attorney Lillian with Lily Legal, and I am here today with your immigration chat. This is when we spend time together, talk about an immigration topic. I answer all your questions live. And if you're watching in the replay, you can ask me your questions in the comments, and I will answer those as well. Okay. So today we will be talking, if you haven't guessed by the topic for today, we will be talking about the Liberian Green Card Act, how to get a green card through it. If you are a Liberian national, if you are the spouse of a Liberian national, and if you are the child of a Liberian national. Okay, these are the three categories of people that can qualify under this and get a green card in the US without having to leave, without requiring someone else to file for you. This is you filing for a green card just because you are a Liberian national, just because you are the spouse of a qualifying Liberian national, or you are the child of a qualifying Liberian national. So this is a great topic for today. Like I said, if you have been watching my videos, you know that one of the themes that I have for this year is making sure that if you qualify for a green card, that you are getting it. So I want to make sure that you know all the different ways out there that you can get a green card, and make sure that you have your information so that you can start applying. Okay, so that is the gist of what we'll be talking about today. Again, as always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe if you're watching in a place where you can subscribe. If you want to set up a personal meeting with me, please feel free to do so. You can either call my office or go on my website and we can get you set up for a time with me. Okay, so we are gonna jump right in. It's a lot of information, but we're going to get through this. Okay. I want to make sure that you know what it is, how you to qualify, what possible things can actually cause you not to qualify, right? Because that's what you really want to know, right? If you're a Liberian national, you really want to know, is there something in my immigration history or in my history in general that will make me not qualify? So that's what I will be going over. So let's start with what we're even talking about. What is this act? When did it come into play? When do I have to file by? Okay. So this came in on December 20th, 2019. Okay. It was a 1 year deal. It was supposed to end on December 20th, 2020, but luckily for us, it was extended by Congress. So now you have until December 20th, 2021. So this is the Liberian Refugee Immigration Fairness Act. It allows for Liberian nationals that are present in the US, right? That's the main thing. Present in the US since November 20th, 2014, to be able to apply for a green card. This means you yourself are applying for a green card. You don't need a family member. You don't need an employer. You don't need to file for an asylum first. You are applying for a green card based on the fact that you meet these requirements. Okay. So the first requirement is that you are a citizen or national of Liberia. That's a requirement. There's no way around it unless, right? Like I said, this is for Liberian nationals, their spouse, and their children. Okay. So if you are a Liberian national in the US since if you are a Liberian national in the US since November 20th, 2014, and you have a spouse that's not a Liberian national, or you have a child that's not a Liberian national, they can still apply with you, right? Because you qualify and you're applying, they can get a green card too. Okay. So it's really important that you really make sure that you qualify, or if you are not sure, please do reach out. I'm happy to, you know, we can always discuss whether you qualify, whether your family members qualify. This is really important. But the first step, the first requirement is that you were physically in the US physically in the US since November 20th, 2014, and that you have remained in the US and have not been outside of the US for more than 6 months at any point since November 20th, 2014. The second requirement is that you are a citizen or national of Liberia. And you prove this easily with a passport from Liberia, right? If you have your Liberian passport, that's your proof that you are a Liberian national/citizen. The next requirement is that you are admissible into the US. What does this actually mean? This is where we kind of get into the weeds a little of what does it actually mean to be admissible. Hi, Leona. Welcome. I'm glad you are finding this information helpful. As always, I just want to take this break to say if you have any questions as I'm going along, please, please, please put it in the comments so that I can see it and answer your questions. Okay. Do not feel that you cannot ask me questions as I'm going along. I will stop and answer your questions. Okay. So, what exactly does it mean to be admissible into the US? So that means you meet all the requirements that anyone else applying for a green card would need to meet. You don't have an aggravated felony. You don't have, you don't have any fraud or misrepresentation in your immigration history. So, what does fraud and misrepresentation actually mean? It means that when you apply for any immigration benefits, that includes applying for a visa to the US. So, if you came to the US with a visiting visa and you stated in the visa that you were married because you thought that it will help you get the visa, that will make you look good to the immigration officer and get you the visa, that is misrepresentation. So that is a problem for this act. You will still have to not be inadmissible for misrepresentation or fraud, or qualify for a waiver. And I will get into that a little later of how you can apply for a waiver for certain things that might make you inadmissible. Okay. So the public charge rule does not apply to you. So this means you don't need an affidavit of support, which is one of the things that people really have a hard time with if they're applying for a green card and they don't have income, or they don't have a friend that has enough income that can do an affidavit of support. Well, for this, you don't need an affidavit of support. So that is a great, great thing here. If you came into the US without permission, that means you came in through the border or anything like that, you can still qualify. Okay. This waives that requirement. So it is great. This is great, great, great for anyone that's been in the US. Maybe you overstayed your visa, right? That's a lot of people. If you overstay your visa, you can still qualify. And this is something that people are so scared of, and they ask me about every single time they come to meet me. And I bring this up is that, hey, I overstayed my visa. I don't have, a US citizen, spouse or child that can file for me. Well, with this, it doesn't matter. If your only immigration sin, right, is that you overstayed your visa, you can still qualify, you can still apply, you can still get this green card. So that is something that is a big deal. And I always want to make sure that I share it every time I talk about this, because it's one of the things that disqualify a lot of people. Okay. If you are in the US, so I'll give you some examples. If you are in the US, you have a spouse that's a permanent resident, but you overstayed your visa, you will need a waiver before you can even get a green card. Okay. If you are in the US and you overstay your visa, you cannot get status in the US without a waiver. So this is a big, big thing, and I know I'm spending a little time on it, but I just want to get that point across to you. If you came in without a visa, if you came in with a visa and you overstayed, you can still qualify. So that's something I want to make sure that is clear to everyone that's listening to this. Okay. So I just want to take a minute and just check on the comments. Hi, everyone. I'm so glad that you're finding this helpful. Hi, Peace TV. If you guys don't know, I know I didn't say it at the beginning, but I am so thankful to Peace TV for collaborating with me and streaming my live on their channel. So please feel free to give them some love, and thank you so much for your support. And thank you, Faith. Thank you, Gary, for watching all the way from Liberia. Welcome. And like Faith said, if this is something you feel that's worth sharing, please do share it. We want to get as many people as possible that qualify to apply. Again, the deadline is December 20th, 2021. Again, we're crossing our fingers that it gets extended for another year, but there's no guarantees. So if you qualify and you're hearing me, please reach out and start the process. You don't want to miss this. This is one of the few things out there that can literally take you from not having a green card to having a green card. Again, even if you don't have any family members in the US that are US citizens that can file for you, this is you getting a green card on your own without relying on anyone else. Okay, this is why I wanted to do this, and I talk about this almost every 3 months on my channel, because I really want people to know about this, know there's a deadline, and move forward to applying. Okay, so again, if you have any questions, put them in the comments. If you're watching this on the replay, put your questions in the comments, okay? Because I will be responding to you. So never fear. You can always ask me your questions. If you do not feel comfortable asking me your questions in the comments, please feel free to send me a message and just tag it with that you want me to answer it on a live, okay? And as always, I'm giving you information. I cannot give you legal advice, but I can give you general information so that you can start the process of making a decision on the next steps that you need to take on your immigration journey. Okay? So, like I said, you don't need an affidavit of support. You don't need to have come in with a visa. You don't need to have valid status. You can have overstayed and you will still qualify. You don't need documentation. So something else that happens is people lose their passport. They can't find their visa. They don't have proof that they actually came in with a visa. Well, it doesn't matter, because you can still apply, because there's no requirement that you come in with a visa. Okay, so that's the key point that I want to really stress to you. The next things I'm going to cover is what makes you not eligible automatically. Okay, these are the things that make you automatically ineligible for this. And the first one is having an aggravated felony conviction. So this is specific to immigration law. So depending on your state that you're in, you might think you only have a misdemeanor, but immigration law has its own standards for what counts as an aggravated felony. So you might have a misdemeanor and it turns out that it's actually an aggravated felony for immigration purposes. So it's really important that if you have any criminal history, that you are not filing an application without speaking with a lawyer first. Okay, this is something I have to stress. I'm giving you information. I want you to use that information, but I want to also make it clear that there's certain things that you really need to pay attention to, and you should not move forward with applying without first meeting with an immigration lawyer. If you have any of these if you have any criminal history at all. The second thing is if you have two or more crimes involving moral turpitude. Okay. Again, this is immigration specific. You might think that certain crimes don't fit into this. So it's really important. Again, you need to make sure that the crime does not fit into either an aggravated felony or a crime involving moral turpitude, because that will really affect your ability to apply for this. The next one, which is not necessarily on this, but it is something that makes people inadmissible. Because remember, I said you have to be admissible. So one of those things is a crime involving a drug offense. So that includes marijuana, like possession, intent to distribute, and then just goes out from there. So if you have any of those, you really want to make sure that you're meeting with a lawyer first. There is, okay, there is a waiver if the available to you if it's a marijuana offense. You only have one, and it's under 30 grams. Okay, if it's possession of marijuana under 30 grams, there could be a waiver available to you. So again, reach out so that we can see if you qualify for the waiver. That's really key here. And then the last thing that makes you automatically not eligible is if you participated in the persecution of others. Okay, that means if you persecuted people based on their gender, race, identity, sexual orientation. So basically, if you are the person that people are seeking asylum from, you cannot apply for this. Okay, so that's the um, easiest way for me to put it is if you are someone that, if you were a war criminal, for example, you would not qualify for this. Hi. So I'm just looking at the comments again. Hi from all the way from Dubai. Welcome. I love seeing how far of a reach that we get with this show. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you are finding this helpful. How can you immigrate to the US? Please do. We would need to have a whole discussion on your personal life, your financial life, all of those things to see what you could potentially qualify for. You can watch my video on the B1, B2 visa. Those are temporary visas to the US, but feel free to watch those to see if you qualify. And then feel free to schedule a time with me to really dig into your own personal history to see if there's other options available to you as well. Okay. So how do you go from, oh, I qualify for this, to now because I qualify, I can file, my family members can also get status. Okay. So this is one of those things, again, like I said, it's incredibly amazing that it exists because not only can you, the Liberian National, get status, but if you're married to someone and they are not a Liberian National and they have not been in the US since November 2014, they can still qualify. Okay. So that's something that is different about this, that I really want to stress to you guys. And remember, the marriage has to exist before the application, right? So again, marriage has to exist. The relationship has to exist before you file. You can't file and then get married to a Liberian national and think that will fix it. No, it's the other way around. So spouses, unmarried children, okay? Unmarried children of Liberian nationals are eligible. So what does this actually mean? This means that if you are in the US, again, it says unmarried. It doesn't say under 21. It doesn't say any of that. So if you are in the US and you, let's say, for example, you came here on a student visa since 2014, you're still on a student visa, you're still validly in the US, and you are the son or daughter of a Liberian national and you are unmarried, you can apply. It's really important that we pay attention to this. And let's say, for example, you're a Liberian national, you move to, let's say you move to Ghana, you had a child in Ghana, and the child is a Ghanaian citizen, not a Liberian citizen. Your child can still qualify. The only thing is the main person, you, the mother or father, have to meet the requirements of this. You have to have been in the US since November 20th, 2014. You have to be a Liberian national, but your child does not. Your spouse does not. They just have to be your spouse and your child. Okay, so when I talk about how amazing and great this is of an opportunity for people to really take the next steps and really take a giant step in their immigration journey as Liberian nationals, it is incredibly huge. So again, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them. I am here for you. I am here to make sure this is clear and that you are leaving here armed with information that will change your immigration journey. Okay. So, what documentation do you need? What do you actually need to provide? So, like I said, you need to prove that you are a Liberian national. So you can either do this with a birth certificate or your Liberian passport. I suggest a Liberian passport just because it's the clearest proof that you are a Liberian national. If you have, let's say, if your birth certificate was issued, let's say last year, and you are 30 years old, that is not really great proof because it was registered so late. So just make sure that if you're able to, that you apply for that Liberian passport and you have it ready to go. Again, you can file with the birth certificate. Just make sure that you also have the passport in the wings, just in case it's asked for. Okay. So now you have to also prove that you have been continuously present in the US since November 20th, 2014. So how do you prove this? Right? That's always the question. How do I prove I've been in the US since 2014 if I don't have a social security number, so I couldn't open a bank account, so I couldn't work under my name? How do I actually fix it? So this is how you do this. You have to list your previous addresses everywhere you've lived since November 20th, 2014. If you have proof that you lived there, so if you had a lease, if you could get a letter from your landlord, if you had roommates, if you can get a letter from them, if you had any bills that were in your name, you can use that as well. If you have payment receipts for rent that you paid, you can use that as well. If you have taken any trips outside of the US since November 20th, 2014, you need to list those because they really want to make sure, right? Like I said, the requirement is that you've been here and you haven't been outside of the US for more than 180 days. Okay? So, in order for USCIS to make that determination, you have to provide the documentation that shows every single time you have left the US, and they will calculate and make sure that it's under 180 days. Okay, so the next thing is if you have worked, you can provide pay stubs to show physical presence. You can use paychecks, employment records. So if, again, I've had people tell me I didn't work, I wasn't authorized to work, but I did work. If you have any documentation of that, you should be providing it. Any purchases that you made in the US, if you had children here and they were in school and your name is listed as the parent, right? So that shows your kid was in school from, let's say they were in school from 2013 to present. And on all their school records, it shows you as the primary contact, as the parent, and shows that you and your child live at the same address. You can use those school records, your kids' school records, to show that. Your church can also be a good source of records. So these are things to keep in mind for continuous physical presence. The next one is if you have had any interaction with the police, immigration / ICE, court officials, anything like that. That includes traffic tickets. That includes if you've been charged with any crime, if you've been arrested, if you've been to immigration court, you need to provide all the documents for every single interaction you had with the police, with immigration, with the courts, so that they can see that you do not have an aggravated felony, that you do not have a crime involving moral turpitude, that you do not have any other crimes that will make you not eligible for this. If your child or your spouse is filed based on the fact that you have status and you are able to apply under this, then they will need to provide their birth certificate, marriage certificate, all those things showing that they're your child, they're your spouse, right? Evidence that they are your children as far as financial ties. So if you were paying child support, if you were the one, if they lived with you, that's evidence of financial support, because if they're living with you, you're probably the one paying the rent, the food, everything. Emotional ties. So if there's pictures, text messages, anything like that showing that you and your child communicate, hang out together, that's great. You can also, like I said, you can use school records to show that you are the primary contact on their school. And for marriages, you need to show that your marriage is in good faith, right? That you didn't just marry the person so that you can file under the Liberian Green Card Act, right? So that's really important here to pay attention to and know that you need to provide all of those documentation. Okay, so, and then of course you have to pay for the filing fee. You have to, immigration filing fees are not cheap. So please make sure that you understand that you have to pay a filing fee. You may qualify for a waiver. I say may, but it really depends on your financial situation, and it's something that you can discuss with your lawyer if you have a question on whether you qualify for that or not. But yes, that is the gist of the Liberian Green Card Act, like I like to call it. And then I want to cover when you can apply for this, right? Because there's some Liberians that might already be in immigration court proceedings to try to get them deported. They can still qualify for this. So let's say you are in immigration court only because you overstayed your visa. You still qualify, right? You can still apply. And once USCIS approves your application, you're no longer here without authorization. So you no longer have to go through immigration court. So that is a big deal. Okay. That's something I really want people to pay attention to as well, is that it is a big deal that you can go from being in immigration court, the US trying to kick you out, to now you having a green card, you also being able to apply for citizenship. It is incredibly, it's a great opportunity for you. So do not miss the deadline. If you are a Liberian national, you are in the US, you have already been ordered removed, right? They already said that you have to leave the US, but you're still here, you can still apply. and your case can still be approved. You just have to meet the other requirements. Okay. If you were ordered to be removed and your case is still in appeals, right? The immigration judge already decided they're not going to approve your case. You appealed it, and now you're waiting for a decision. You can still apply because you qualify. And something that I love about this is that if you meet all the requirements, right? If you meet all the requirements, whether the officer likes you or not, they have to approve your case. It is not discretionary. Every other immigration benefit. So if you're filing through your spouse, if you're filing through your child, there's still a level of discretion that even if you present all the documents in the world, the officer can still decide that they're not going to approve your case based on discretion. For this, there's no discretion. If you meet the requirements, they have to approve your case. They must approve your case if you meet all the requirements. And if they say they're not going to approve your case, they have to tell you why, and you have a chance to respond. So this is not this is really not up to the officer to decide whether you if you deserve a green card or not. It's not about whether you deserve it, it's whether you qualify. And if you qualify, they are required to approve your case and give you a green card. Okay. So I wanted to wait till we got here to kind of give you the last amazing thing. I know I say this, but this is really just the icing on the cake of this whole thing, is that when you get your green card and you look at the date when it said that you were admitted as a green card holder, it will either have November 20th, 2014 on there, or it will have a date later than that. So it might, if you came in 2002, for example, and you can show that from 2002 to present that you have physically and continuously been in the US, they'll probably put that 2002 date as the date that you were admitted as a green card holder. Now, what does that actually mean in the real world? Right? Because it's one thing, yeah, the green card says I've had my green card since 2002. What does that actually do for you? Well, one, you can immediately apply for citizenship, because all citizenship needs is that admitted date on your green card to say that it's been 5 years since you've been in the US. And if the date on that, even if it's November 2014 is the date on that, you have more than 5 years as a green card holder. So you can immediately, this day that you get your green card, you can apply for citizenship. Okay. So again, this is, like I said, this is the icing on the cake. The day that you get your green card, you can apply for citizenship. So within a year, depending on where you are, you can be a citizen of the United States. So you can literally go from not having status to becoming a citizen in a 3-year span. Because that is just the great thing about this act. Is one of the things that I love about this is just the way that it can literally change your entire trajectory. So if you go from not having status to now being able to apply for citizenship, applying for citizenship, getting your citizenship, if you have family that's outside of the US, that, if you have your parents, your children that are over 21 or that are married, you can apply for them right away. The day you get your citizenship, you can start the application process. So this can literally change your whole family's immigration journey. Okay. So again, If you apply, you qualify, and your case is approved, once you get your green card, you can apply for citizenship. And once you get your citizenship, now you can apply for everyone that a US citizen can apply for. Okay. So this is a major, major thing. Okay. So, yes, Leona, feel free to send me that message and I will respond. So, that is what I have for you today. I hope that the icing was worth it. I hope that those of you that stayed to the end, that little icing on the cake of being able to apply for citizenship, immediately getting your green card, which is unheard of, by the way, because most people have to either wait 3 years if they got their green card through marriage, or 5 years if they got it through any other means. So this is something that's incredible. And if you qualify, you are in for just an amazing surprise at the end. Okay. And I said that there might be other benefits. So let's say, for example, you've been working in the US, you got a social security number when you first came here, but you then fell out of status. And you've been working in the US under that social security number, but you want to retire and you don't really have, you can't get your social security benefits because you don't have status. Well, when you apply and you can show that you have been in the US since the day that you came in, guess what? That is the date that's going to be on your green card, which means the Social Security Administration will need to, you can take your green card to them and show that you've been here since then, and you can get your benefits. You can get your Social Security benefits. So there's so much good that comes out of this that I just want to make sure that you know about it, that you find it helpful. And please, 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 if you do find this helpful, share it with your community, because we want, we want as many people that qualify as possible to apply and get their green card and citizenship. Okay. So that is my goal for these videos, is to make sure you know what's available to you, that you know what the requirements are, that you know that I'm here for you if you have questions. If you want to know if you specifically qualify based on your individual history, please feel free to reach out. I am happy to schedule a consultation with you to really dive deep into your history and get you started on your journey. Okay, so I want to thank you all for joining me. Again, please, before I leave, if you have questions, please ask me so that I can get you get your answers live. If you want to send me a DM, please feel free to do so. Just make sure you tag it with immigration chat so that I know to respond to it next week. Okay, so feel free to do that. And as always, thank you so much for spending the time. And I always enjoy our chats. And if you, like I said before, if you found this helpful, please like, share, subscribe if you're watching in a place that you can subscribe. If you are watching this on Facebook, please feel free to come over to Lily Legal. That's my Facebook page, and just join us there. We do a Tuesday immigration tips, and we do tips on an almost daily basis. So feel free to join us there so that you can get updates. And if you're on my YouTube page, you already know we do the Tuesday tips there, and we do some bonus videos there as well. We should have a video up soon on basically a reaction to a movie scene that was all about the immigration interview. So if you find that sort of reactions interesting, feel free to jump over to my YouTube page and watch that once we post it. So again, thank you so much for spending the time with me, and I will see you next week with more immigration chat. All right. Bye for now.